And let's see if I can change my layout a little bit. Ooh, let's see. There we go.
What do you teach, Ashley?
So I'm actually our RTI specialist at the school, and that stands for Response to Intervention. So 3 times a year, I do assessments on grades kindergarten through 3rd. And those are just some basic benchmark screenings on math and language. So I do that 3 times a year. And then I also work with the teachers to go through our process of observation and strategy building with any students that we would consider at risk for a learning difference. And then once that process is complete, if we receive anything back, then I help set up their plan for their classrooms. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been about a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me see if I have the tech savvy to do all these things. Oh, we're already recording. Thank you, Melanie. And then, okay, so I'm going to push present now. And please feel free to give me, okay, let's see. A Chrome tab, would that be?
Yeah, you can click that and then click the name of your presentation.
Okay. Or a window. What should I do? A window?
Either one will work. I like to do a Chrome tab. Angelo, do you have input on which you prefer?
Oh, I've got my tab. Let me see if this works. You can just let me know.
It's working.
Yay! Okay, and then so I'm going to present. Okay, can everybody see my presentation?
Perfect. Yes, thank you.
Oh, yay! I feel so tech savvy now. Okay, let's see. I've already run over my slides. All right, everyone see slide 1? Yay! Yep. Okay, today I'm going to be talking about the challenges and strategies for normalization, whether it be in the classroom or at home. So first question first. What is normalization? What is normal, right? It's such a complex question. Like, I think I'm normal, but is this normal? Is my kid normal? This is not talking about, you know, standards in society of what normal is, okay? So Montessori, Maria Montessori talked about what normalization in the Montessori classroom was, and this is what she said. Normalization is the term used to refer to children who are able to concentrate and work freely in the Montessori environment, exercising self-discipline and peace. It is in no way meant to suggest that children who are not able to do this are not normal, okay? It simply means they are in a different stage of their development and personal journey. So Montessori says there are 3 stages of normalization, either within the home classroom environment or the actual at-school class environment. Those stages are: number 1, the child does something because they want to, right? So we have that impulse, what we call a very primal, you know, getting our needs met. So it's circle time. Everyone's supposed to be at the circle, but the child says, I want a drink of water. And they get straight up and they go over and they get the water, and then they roam around the classroom for a little while and look at things, right? They do what they want to do. It's completely unintentional, but it's an impulse that children have, and sometimes adults have as well, right? I like to do what I want to do. The second stage of normalization is that the child does something because he or she is asked to do it. So I might be with my son at my home. My son is 3, and we could be having an at-home lesson, our Montessori lessons. And I could say, Atticus, please pick up your last work and put it away. And Atticus would respond by doing what I asked him to do, right? So following instructions, being able to do multi-step, um, things that, pick up the toy, put it in its place, roll up your rug, whatever it might be. And then the third stage of normalization is that the child does something because they know it's right. And this is such a beautiful, sweet spot that we just love. We crave this normalization, right, as adults, because we know everything we're supposed to do and nobody has to tell us to do it. We just do it, right? But we have to remember that we've been alive for umpteen years compared to our little ones, and we've heard the right thing to do, the order of things, the steps, millions of times, and our little ones have maybe only heard it hundreds of times. So they're still processing what it means to take initiative from what they've been told to do, right? So now that Atticus is finally normalized in the at-home environment, he knows without me having to say anything, when you're finished with this work, put it away. And so I will spontaneously see Atticus stand from his work, pick up the work, put it back on the shelf, roll up his rug, and go on to the next task or whatever it is. This is what we mean by normalization. Again, it has no meaning in society of whether a person, my philosophy is no one is normal, but we can be normalized, right? We know what we're supposed to do. We do the right thing without having to be asked. All right, let's move to the next slide. Okay. Dr. Montessori stated that there are 4 characteristics that show that normalization is happening. The love of work includes the ability to choose work freely and to find serenity and joy in the work. Concentration. To help such development, it is not enough to provide objects chosen at random, but we, as the teachers or the parents, have to organize a world of progressive interest, right? So this concept of concentration. If I give my son a whistle and I say, this is a whistle. This is how we use a whistle. I blow into it, it makes the sound, right? Atticus, if he's never seen a whistle before, he is going to take the whistle in his hands. He's going to practice a few short puffs. Well, that didn't work. I'm really concentrating on this work. How do I blow a whistle? And he makes the sound, and it's wonderful, and we all clap, and he was using his concentration to follow through with that work. Well, what happens after like 10 seconds of using that whistle? We're totally bored. We're out of there, right? So we have to continue to provide stimuli for the child to encourage their concentration in a progressive way. So we're not stagnant in the lessons or in the works. Once they've mastered it, they concentrate on it, they know what they're doing, we move to the next lesson. All right, self-discipline. Self-discipline is, in all just simple talk, it is the ability to carry through what the student has begun. Okay, so self-discipline. I'm gonna get, me as a mom, I'm gonna get 3 loads of laundry done. I'm gonna do the dishes, and I'm gonna prepare a meal for my family. Okay, these are all things I can achieve if I concentrate and I have self-discipline. I can do these things if I don't sit down with a cup of coffee and stare off into space, right? I'm going to complete the things I've begun. And that's what the student does. And that's what we consider self-discipline. All right. And lastly, sociability. It's important that social qualities derive from this. The child comes to see that he must respect the work of others, not because someone has said he must, but because this is reality, and the student meets it in daily experience. Okay, so another sign of normalization. Everybody's doing work. Sally is in the classroom, and Sally has written 20 math facts, and she's got 5 more to go. But Susan comes over to Sally and just sits down and starts having a conversation and starts playing with the pencils and all of those kind of stuff. Now, which student would you consider normalized? Is it Sally, who's sitting down, concentrating on her work, having the self-discipline to finish what she has begun, is respecting others people's space and what they're doing because she's staying to herself? Is she normalized? Or is it Susan who's coming over and interrupting the work, right? So we're going to say Sally is normalized. And Connie was speaking about normalization. Isn't this just, okay, the children are normalized? No. The full moon happens. It's rain, Corona hits, dad got a new job, whatever it is, right? So we see these little glimmers of normalization. And anytime we see that, it's always good to come with feedback. Wow, I really loved how you concentrated on your work and got all 25 problems complete. You really showed some determination and self-discipline. And you didn't bother your brother while you were doing it. That's amazing, right? So we always want to give that positive feedback as well. Okay, now we're going to go to slide 4. I know I didn't go over the love of work. I interpret that as the love of learning, right? So we want to create in the child this desire to know more, to work harder, to do these things. And that's why we call the materials work, because it is the work of the child. We as adults see the word work a lot of times in a negative sense. Oh, I have to go to work, right? Could you imagine if we loved our work, if we loved what we were doing, if we were able to be successful at it, to concentrate, to know what we needed to be doing? I mean, what a joy to go to work every day. I have found that at White Rock, but I know a lot of adults still are searching for those things. But as a child, we want those students to have a love of their work, a love of learning. And the way that we can do that is be able to connect age-appropriate materials and lessons for that child that they can master and feel really amazing about themselves. If we just continue to pile work on them that they're not ready for, and we say, do this or else, who's going to love work? Nobody. You feel terrible about it, right? So we want to give them things that they can accomplish and be just very independent with. Okay. Now we're going to slide 4. Yay! All right. What are some challenges of home learning? So there's tons of challenges, way more than 5, but I've just picked 5 for you that we're going to go over a little bit on. This would be a great time to get a notepad, or remember to rewatch this since it's being recorded. The first challenge we're going to go over is the schedule. So the first thing I would do, the thing about a schedule, it has to be consistent, right? Get together and find your family schedule norms. My family wakes up at this time, or mom wakes up at 6 a.m. to have some quiet time, or the children must be in bed by this time. You come up with your family routine and schedule, okay? Then that schedule needs to be visually posted somewhere in the house. If your children are readers, it can be written out. If your children aren't readers yet, make visual pictures. You can get them online, a picture of a family sitting around a dinner table. Oh, dinner time, that's what's next, right? And so this helps them put things in order. It also is an introduction to the concept of time, which is infinite. Isn't that crazy? It does all these wonderful things to have a schedule. That's why we depend so deeply on our calendars, because again, it's the first introduction of the passage of time for the children. So we can use those visual schedules. The other thing I would use is definitely alarm clocks and timers, whether that be, digital timers, the kitchen timer, sand timers, whatever it is, that they will stay on schedule and they will know when it's time for the next task, because they are getting these physical reminders of their schedule. All right, number 2. I love this quote. It's amazing. It's about organization. It says, "For every minute spent organizing, an hour is earned." And Benjamin Franklin said that. And I cannot even tell you how much being organized has totally de-stressed my life and given me the freedom just to do so many other things. For example, okay, so normally I pick out my clothes the night before, I get my work bag ready, all these things. Last night, I got my clothes out for today. I preset the coffee. I did all these things of organization and scheduling, but I didn't prepare my work bag. So this morning, as I'm trying to get out of the house, I am frantically looking for my computer cord charger. And then you get into this really heavy mind space, right? You start thinking, I think my husband purposefully hid this for me because he wants me to have a terrible day. Or my 3-year-old probably grabbed it. Should I wake my 3-year-old up this early, say, where did you hide mommy's charger? Right? So it takes us into this whole other space. And it could have easily been avoided if I had prepared my bag the night before. So organizing your child's space, what does that look like? So prepare the night before. Another key to that is put back everything after you use it. So my cord, after I used it, I should have put it back in my work bag, right? Then I'm not searching all over the place for it. And another thing that's really helpful for me is to keep a daily planner. I know a lot of people do that on their phones, but I love writing it down and being able to look at it. I think that's a great tool. All right, space. Space is limited. Imagination is not. And I thought, oh, I think I just made this quote, and I Googled it, and nobody else I know on the World Wide Web has said those words in that order before, but there are other quotes that kind of go with this. So I'm taking semi-credit for it. Number 1, create a designated space in your home for your student. 2, make sure you have all your needed materials, a desk, a chair, headphones, your water bottle so they don't have to get up and go to the kitchen every, 5 minutes, a handy snack, privacy boards, fidgets, ample lighting, chair bands, bouncy balls, all these different things. Make sure that your space is prepared for your child before the day begins. So the night before, just getting everything organized. All right, number 4, learning differences. This can be a real challenge, not only in school, but at home. And I just say the more we know, the better we do. So the first thing you need to do is identify your child's needs. So if your child starts spacing out after 30 minutes of online work, what does my child need? Maybe some gross motor, maybe some activity. So identifying what your child needs and being able to come up with strategies to meet those needs. And another key thing with this about learning differences or at risk for learning differences, collaborate with your child's teacher to collect a list of strategies for your student. So important to reach out to those teachers. They have a lot of information for you guys, and they'll be able to help you. Okay, number 5. This is one that I've been challenged with this year because I'm working from home and I have my little one, and I say, I need to work too, right? So multitasking. And what I've been trying to teach Atticus is how to practice interruption differences. So one interruption, is this an emergency? No, mommy, it's not an emergency. Is it an important school question that you need answered right now? No. Can this wait till later? Yes. And don't be afraid to tell your children, can this wait till later? All right, please go back to work. I think a lot of times when we feel like we're being too harsh with our children or telling them information, we might shy away from it. But if we don't do the hard work first, they're going to go down later in life not having these lessons about interruption. And I always practice with students and Atticus the phrase, please do not interrupt me. All right. If your child is coming to you, mommy, 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 daddy, 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 and you say, please do not interrupt me, and then you go back to your conversation, but they're saying, mommy, 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 what do we do? The first thing we do, what? What do you need? What is it? You have totally just defeated the purpose of your first statement. Please do not interrupt me. You're teaching them that it's okay to interrupt you. This is what I do. Mommy, 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 please don't interrupt me. Then I go back into my conversation and I ignore the pleads unless he says it's an emergency. Okay. And that's okay. They've got to learn to wait. They have that patience. They're not going to interrupt their boss one day when they're in a meeting. You know, these are life skills, and you can still do what you need to do at home, which I know is a challenge. Okay. The next slide is just some strategy resources. I love PBIS World. Gives you strategies. There's a great book by a couple who did Montessori at home there. And AMS actually offers some instruction on their website about Montessori at home, beyond the classroom. What does that mean? So I encourage you to look those up. All right, that's all I have. I know it's 7:32, but does anyone have any questions for me? Let me see if I can stop sharing. Let's see. Let me see if I'm tech savvy enough. Okay, you're presenting. Stop presenting. There we go. All right. Looks like I had some things.
It's us now, Ashley.
I'm sorry.
It's just us now, faculty and staff now. It looks like your guests have dropped off. So
They said I'm out. Okay.